Hey, what's going on, everyone? How you guys doing? My name is Matt Jarbo. This is Three Buck Theater, and today's been an interesting day. This has been an interesting month when it comes to Marvel news, right? Because I feel like there's a lot of upset. I feel like there's a lot of problems. I feel like there's a lot of issues, and part of that has to do with the fact that Scott Derrickson walked away from Doctor Strange 2, from Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. We don't know why. I mean, we can speculate, we can theorize, we can come up with our own conclusions as to why he would walk away from something that he helped popularize. You know how much he loves Doctor Strange. You know how much he loved making that movie and how excited he was to dive back in to doing another one. And then he quit. And then we hear all of these rumors about what's going to be potentially coming into Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. And it's becoming to the point now where it's quite literally like ridiculous on so many levels what news is coming. And it's not just coming from like one source. It's a bunch of different people are talking about what's going to be going in to Doctor Strange 2. And then that, in my mind, has become kind of concerning. Is Kevin Feige going too hard, too fast with Doctor Strange 2 in order to introduce us into the multiverse, in order to introduce us into Scarlet Witch being the big bad of Phase 4, perhaps, because we know that that's going to be happening, that she might be the villain of Doctor Strange 2 and then continue on being the villain because of the heartbreak over Vision and everything else. I mean, these are all things that are theorized, and they could actually be real. It wouldn't be surprising to me if that's what they decided to do, but it just also feels like the movie itself is becoming basically Iron Man 2 and introducing Avengers. It's setting up Avengers, and this one would be Doctor Strange, Multiverse of Madness would be setting up, you know, X-Men, setting, connecting the universes together, finding a way to bring in new mutants into this day and age. Who knows? I don't know, but it all feels that way. Then the question becomes, who the hell's going to direct it? Who the hell is gonna manage this mess? Who is gonna bring it home? Who is gonna deliver on the goods to make sure that this particular bridge into the multiverse to bring in these characters is going to be handled well? And we're finding out today, apparently, that's Sam Raimi. And the only thing I can really say about that is shocking. That was unexpected. When I first saw that, I went, oh, really? Oh, that's interesting. That's fascinating. Sam Raimi hasn't directed a feature film since 2013. That was the Oz the Great and Powerful for Disney, and that was not a good movie. Now, but he did Drag Me to Hell, which was a very fun movie. When he does horror, that's when I believe Sam Raimi is on point. But let's not forget how this dude popularized modern comic book movies in a way that Bryan Singer's X-Men couldn't do. And I love X-Men. I love that movie, but Spider-Man 1, it's GOAT. You know what I mean? Like, it's just a GOAT. He handled it so well, and it brought in $114 million in its opening weekend, making it the highest grossing film at that time. So he's a team player. He knows Feige. He knows this world. He knows it very well. He's been a longtime fan. So why not have him come back? Why not have him come back into the fold, come back into the fray, and tackle Doctor Strange too? So let's take a look here at what Variety is saying. They are saying here that Sam Raimi, who helped launch the modern superhero movie with 2002 Spider-Man, is in talks to direct Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness for Marvel Studios. Raimi replaces the original director Scott Derrickson, who Variety reported on January 9th had officially departed the project due to creative differences. My favorite example of that was when he tweeted out that release dates or predetermined release dates are the death of creativity. Anyway, Derrickson will remain as an executive producer. Raimi, meanwhile, will need to get up to speed before the film is scheduled to start production in May, which is very quick. It's very, very, very quick to bring on this type of director, especially in something that's as homogenized as the MCU. And that is a fear that I have, and I will talk about that. Now, according to this, it says Marvel has no comment. So it talks a bit about, his work on Spider-Man. And then it says, this is something of a coup for both Raimi and Marvel, given Raimi's reputation with comic book fans. 2004 Spider-Man 2 is still widely regarded as one of the best superhero movies ever made. That and The Dark Knight, but I would probably lean more towards Spider-Man 2. Just saying. I love Dark Knight, but come on, Alfred Molina as Doc Ock was great. And with 15 features to name as a director, including The Evil Dead 2, Army of Darkness, Raimi is also the most established filmmaker to join the MCU since the earliest days of the studio, when Kenneth Branagh and Joe Johnston respectively directed the first Thor and Captain America movies. And I really enjoyed both of those films. But here's the other thing too. It is saying that Rachel McAdams is not going to be reprising her role as Rachel Palmer, and I just wonder if that's something to do with Scott Derrickson, if that's kind of like a I'm going to step down in solidarity sort of thing. So what does this mean? Well, what it means right now is nothing, because there's been no confirmation. This is just somebody hearing that Raimi is in talks, and this might be something where they're trying to judge it by the reaction to social media. What are people on the internet saying about this? How are they going to respond to Raimi potentially coming back to handle a Marvel movie? And I think most people that I've seen, have been like, oh yeah, like Kool-Aid Man through that wall. Oh yeah. That's what they really like the idea of it. On paper, it sounds amazing. It really does. On paper, it sounds amazing. However, I have concerns, and let me explain it. So, Spider-Man 1, Spider-Man 2, two of the greatest comic book movies of all time, also just good films in general. Spider-Man 3. Now, I'm one of the few defenders of Spider-Man 3. I actually really do like that movie. I never did not like that movie. Yes, it has its problems, but I really dug the idea of redemption and forgiveness. I really enjoyed that aspect of it, and I thought it was a nice closeout to the trilogy. Should they have done more? 100%. But still, I enjoyed what they did. Should Venom have been in it? No, not at all. That was the worst part of the movie. But I like Sandman because Thomas Jane Church did a good job. Or Thomas Church, whatever his name is. Tom Jane, he was Punisher. Thomas Hayden Church. There we go. Then my IMDb back on point. So the problem with Spider-Man 3 was, for one, Sony came in. All right, and everyone knows I like to bag on Sony, but Sony came in and like demanded Venom, and Raimi was like, I don't want to do Venom, and he didn't want to tell that story, and they're like, tough titties, you want to get paid, right? And then they forced him to do it, and as a result, the film suffered. As a result, the film didn't do as well. As a result, the film was heavily mocked for a couple of the different things, especially how Raimi handled the Peter Parker transition with the dark symbiote suit. And I enjoyed those scenes predominantly because I understood what Raimi was trying to do with them. He was trying to showcase the change in Peter Parker's personality in a very over-the-top, crazy way that would, be completely antithetical to what we know about Parker, while still showing this kind of like complete 180 of a character. And it didn't fly with a lot of people. It did with me, but it didn't fly with a lot of people, and I totally get that. Here it is nearly 13 years later. So why am I kind of concerned if Raimi is going to come into the fold on this one? Because Kevin Feige is, in my opinion, the most powerful producer in Hollywood. He is the most powerful person in Hollywood. Okay. He has delivered so much money to Disney, so much money to Bob Iger, so much money to Alan Horn, that I guarantee you that Alan Horn is just his boss in name only. I mean, look at everything that Iger has given Feige. I don't know if he gave it to him because Feige asked or if it was thrust upon him. When they said, oh, you can't handle Star Wars, when Sony came out and said that you can't handle Spider-Man and doing the rest of the movies, that was their argument for the whole deal falling through. Kevin Feige took on Star Wars as probably an FU to Sony. And everyone could see what it is. It is what it was. Feige has a control problem. And I don't want to say an issue, but Feige likes his control. And in liking his control, Feige going up against Raimi, who has 15 features under his belt, who's been a near 40-year veteran in Hollywood, who has a very established track record, a very, very devoted fan base of horror fanatics and everything else. This is a situation where if these forces, both creative and stubborn, do not mesh well, that could be a very big problem for Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. Now, Feige apparently did work with Raimi on Spider-Man, and so they know each other well. And that does speak to having a better collaborative spirit. But they haven't done anything together in a long time. And the whole industry has changed since when they did. And Feige is no longer an associate producer who is going to be sneaking Hugh Jackman in X-Men comics in order to help Jackman get in the part for Wolverine, because Bryan Singer wanted nothing to do with trying to have a comic book movie because he wanted to be taken seriously. Feige still has that creative spirit that I love, and I love that man. But I will also acknowledge the power that he has. So I'm concerned only on that front. But then again, I think back to Spider-Man 2, the Doc Ock scene, that basically felt like a recreation of Evil Dead 2, and I loved it. And to get something like that, and a pseudo horror kind of comic book comedy movie, because that's what it's probably going to be, coming off of the sitcom aspect of WandaVision. They're gonna want to hold that same idea. They're gonna want to hold that same theme. I think Raimi can mix the two together. I think Derrickson wanted to do a horror film. I think Feige wanted to do pseudo horror mixed with cosmic elements, but really to kind of like not scare people or not go too crazy. And I think that's where their fallout happened. Raimi is definitely a company man, but he's got that stubborn streak that can derail a project, and that could be something that could effectively hurt Doctor Strange 2 more than help it. But at the same time, if this is real, man, I'm happy. I'm happy because he's a good director, and I want to see. And I love Raimi. I love Raimi. You know, so I want to see him work. I do. Again, I'm not. People might give me crap in the comment section for this. I'm not trying to say don't actually do it. I'm just saying this is a concern. But I am curious to know your guys' thoughts and your opinions. Let me know down in the comments below on this one. I will talk to you guys all later. Let me know what you guys think about this down below. Be sure to like, subscribe if you're new, and peace out.